When Moi left office, we had a sovereign debt of 630 billion. That is what Kibaki inherited. In 10 years, Kibaki took that sovereign debt to 1.8 trillion. That is 3 times, by a multiple of 3, roughly. When my brother, President Uhuru, left office in 2022, he left behind a debt of 10.3 trillion. It had grown by 5 times, 500% in 10 years. In my 5 years, that debt has grown from 10.3 trillion to 13 trillion. In 5 years, that debt has not grown by multiples. It has grown by 27%. And therefore, the commitment I made that while we will continue to invest and develop our country, we will do it in such a manner that we reduce on borrowing, we reduce on debt, and we grow our economy sustainably. So I'm just giving an example of how accountable one must be. I see many people trying to argue that maybe health should be reverted to national government. I am completely opposed. I think health is in the right place in county governments. Why do I say that? If you look at delivery of health, there are counties where we had only 1 doctor. Example, Wajir here. Today, there are 70. There are many more health workers. Supervision has been devolved from the national government to the county. County workforce, health professionals are held to account. In the past, there used to be doctors who never reported to their stations for 10 years and nobody knew. That is no longer possible. The county governments have appropriated that space properly. And so, have they done many other things better than was the case in the old system? Let me also say, having served as the first chairperson of the Intergovernmental Budget and IBEC, that we started off with a lot of territorial fight between the national government and the county government. And rightfully so, because there was still a hangover by the national government to try and control counties. And then there was also, a bit of that, I must admit. But progressively, we have come to appreciate that there are roles assigned to counties, there are responsibilities and mandate assigned to the national government. And that way, we have found a way of living together. In fact, I have had a wonderful 4 years working with county governments. Maybe because I had the benefit of what happened in the last 10 years. And we have signed, as Abdullahi has said, many intergovernmental participation agreements. We have done, for example, the registration of farmers, which was a very big thing. Now we have a register of all farmers. It was a joint project between national government and county governments. We have community health promoters. Today, we pay community health promoters jointly. The community health promoters are doing a fantastic job. Today, we have signed an intergovernmental partnership agreement on matters health. I would have chosen, for example, to say health is a devolved function and I should have nothing to do with it. But we sat down with counties and we said there is a role where national government can support counties in delivery of a mandate that is assigned to counties, and that is purely constitutional. The Constitution, provides for that kind of mechanism. And we use that mechanism to improve health outcomes. Today, we have more citizens registered on social health. Today, we have more citizens treated. Today, we have better delivery of equipment. We signed a partnership agreement with counties. Today, they get equipment that they don't have to pay for because of the agreement we have signed, and they are using those equipments to deliver health and get paid for by SHA. So I can say confidently that counties are better placed when there is a better relationship between the counties and the national government. That is not to say there are no challenges. Yes, there are challenges here and there, but continuously we keep resolving those challenges. There is a journey that we have traveled as a country. And as head of state of this country today, I am very proud that this Katiba Day is not just another occasion. It's not just another celebration. It is a place where we call ourselves and ask ourselves difficult questions. Have we done what the Constitution expected of us? And why I am very proud about this moment is because I have managed to bring the country to a place where we can candidly ask ourselves questions. Last week, I was here in KICC on one of our primary subjects, that is universal health coverage. And I spent 5 hours the first day, 5 hours the second day, answering citizens, having an engagement with citizens. As president, that does not happen in ordinary circumstances. No other president has done what I have done. I have put myself at a place where I can be questioned and taken questions and answered. So I think this is a good place for us as a country. In the context of commitments that you make, you may not necessarily get 100%, but you can get 80%. In your estimation, have you passed that exam or did you not pass? If the commitments you made, you have achieved 80%. There are some commitments that are work in progress. But what I was trying to point to you is that of the commitments I made to the people of Kenya, commitments on the economy, commitments on education, commitments on agriculture, commitments on housing, commitments on making sure we control our debt, commitments on making sure that we have universal health coverage, I can confidently say we are at 80%. That does not mean we have discharged every commitment. There are commitments that are outstanding. Among them is that one on making sure that we respect the 2/3 gender principle. There are many people who are telling me, for example, I heard exactly what you are saying. You must get 100% for you to have passed. I don't think that is fair to say, for you to have passed, you must get 100%. I think what we are saying is, have we, in the collective assessment of the people of Kenya,
yes,
have we kept our part of the bargain substantively? You remember I used the words progressively in my statement several times.
Yes.
Have we made progress progressively? Yes, we have done. Have we done 100%? No, we have not got 100%. Some of it, as was said here by leaders, is work in progress. When I was pushing for the housing levy, and many people were telling me, how is it our business to make sure the people living in slums who have no decent dwelling places, how is it our business to assist them to get decent housing? It's a very, reasonable question, but looking at it from the other side is very callous. I mean, it shows how insensitive we are, that we have people who live in slums, that it doesn't concern you that there is a citizen who uses a flying toilet. It doesn't concern, you're not bothered. I mean, you really have to have a heart of stone not to think about fellow citizens who have to pay to use a toilet. I mean, it is something that must concern us. And that is, I think, what my good brother there was saying. Or a citizen who decides to stay at home, they are sick, but they prefer to stay at home and die because they have no means of getting medical treatment. I think that is something that should concern us. By way of accountability, when we seek a mandate like the way I did, I made commitments to the people of Kenya. And those commitments were not just statements. They were not just slogans. They were commitments that ultimately I must be held account, because that is what the Constitution demands of me as president. And I would want to put it in this context. Number one, I made commitments about how to transform the nation and what I need to do. And I made proposals to the people of Kenya that this is how I intend to stabilize the economy. This is how I intend to make sure that we have access to health getting to the majority of citizens. This is how I intend to work on making sure that there is decent housing as it's required by the Constitution. This is how education that is provided for as an obligation to government in the Constitution, this is what we are going to do. This is how we are going to work on access to water and all the other requirements of the Constitution. And I can confidently tell the nation today that subsequent to my election and my commitment that I will be faithful to the Constitution, we have done whatever we needed to do, difficult as it may have been, to stabilize our economy. Today, our economy is the 6th largest economy in Africa. Our interest rates have come down. Our exchange rates have come down and stabilized. Our inflation has come down and stabilized. And our sovereign debt position is way different from what it was. We did not only, avoid the default. We've gone ahead to create a much more stable economy. Often, I have been asked, you committed yourself that you will reduce on debt and on borrowing. And I want to answer that question in this forum because prudent management of public resources is part of accountability, is part of accounting by leaders. You know, sometimes we reduce accountability to just be about, you know, corruption and those other things, which are fundamental. But the worst form of corruption is to make a commitment that you have no intention of keeping.
True.
And so when I made a commitment that we are going to think of how to develop our country without burdening ourselves with too much borrowing or debt, and sometimes disproportionately disadvantaging generations that come after us.
Right.
I can say on this podium today, if you look at where we were in terms of debt and where we are today, we have significantly, by multiples, reduced the rate of acquisition of debt in our country.